Hello there, and welcome to Fixing the Sequel Trilogy, the Writers' Room podcast dedicated to fixing the Star Wars sequels. I'm Bryce Quinn, and this week I'm joined by the killer of darlings, Carmelo Keating. How are you, Mello?
Very good. I've been very busy recently.
Oh, yeah?
Killing a bunch of darlings. So,
Yeah, we had our little Writers' Room over the weekend where you, me, and Sandro debated on which darlings to kill, and Sandro was devastated by the outcome. It was really funny.
I can't remember of which in particular, but
Probably Kira Solo.
yeah, that old chestnut we're
And
throwing around.
a couple different ideas that we just keep tossing and throwing around.
Yeah.
But
No, it was very good, very productive.
very productive.
We're gonna do it again this weekend.
I'm also joined by the insane madman behind the 80-page document that inspired today's episode, Cole Forfang Phan. How are you, Cole?
I am sober now. No. I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a bit tired today. I've just had a V, so excuse me if I
You're
go
not
all
allowed
caffeinated.
to be tired now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, watching like 20 minutes of the whole show just gets speed run.
Yeah.
Bit of context behind that 80-page document, Cole.
Oh, what about it?
Well, we're going to get into it in the show today because this is Fixing the Sequel Trilogy, and each week we bring you an hour of rambling, babbling, and dare I say yapping as we piece together our rewrite of the sequel trilogy. This week we present you with a little something we've been cooking up for a while. Mello, you call it Final Days, I call it the Fall of Coruscant, and Cole, I don't know what you call
I
it.
think I just called it After Endor.
After
Chapter
Endor,
one.
Chapter 1, yeah.
Chapter 1, the Fall of Coruscant.
So in canon, there is a brief period of skirmishing after the Battle of Endor, as you say, before the Galactic Concordance, which Grand Vizier Mas Amida signs to end the Galactic Civil War. Have I got all that right?
Yeah.
Just double checking. So in our rewrite, we'll be keeping all of the events of Return of the Jedi as canon, but after that is entirely fair game to chop and change. The core idea of what we're talking about today revolves around what happens to Coruscant, which is an ecumenopolis and key stronghold of the Galactic Empire.
Nice.
Wow.
Is
So
that
the term for planet-sized city is ecumenopolis.
right?
Crazy.
Hell. Which, like, when was that term created? Because as far as I'm aware, was Coruscant not the first one in the world of
I believe
like,
it was
pop culture?
By a Greek architect in the 1600s, I think.
Okay,
I read the Wikipedia
crazy,
article
man.
about it.
Wow. So the idea
The idea is
existed
yes,
Wow, they hadn't
Before-
for a very long time.
back
yeah.
when cities weren't shit.
they
Yeah.
hadn't even invented planets yet.
If it's not the 1600s, I'm very sorry. I'm an idiot. I was literally one Google search. I just needed to check the spelling.
That's right. No, they can Google it themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the Coruscant and the post-war period just after the Civil War and everything that happens between episode 6 and our version of episode 7.
Yep.
So the reason we keep talking about you, Cole, is because when we did our first round of treatment stuff, you give us a 80-page document of some of the craziest shit I've ever read in my life, and a lot of it had to do with the post-Civil War
Yes,
period.
it's all connected.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
And we're very excited to jump into that. And I'll get you to do like a brief rundown in a second. But I wanted to just start with what they did in the actual sequel trilogy in that post-war period. And we'll just have a quick discussion and tear it to
Ugh.
pieces a little bit because it's stupid. It
Right,
sucks.
Yeah. So we're going back to an almost structured sort of segment-based thing here for a sec. What the sequels did wrong.
Yeah, what the
Yeah.
sequels did wrong with
Okay.
the post-Civil War time period.
Okay, let's start with the easiest thing, I think. What did the sequels do wrong in the films?
Yeah.
Tell us fucking nothing.
So with Force Awakens, we started on Hosnian Prime.
Yeah.
No mention was made of Coruscant. And I think that's a bit of a glaring oversight.
Yeah.
They don't mention what happened to that planet and what it looks like now.
Yeah.
If you have a planet-sized city, that's important. It's important in the law. It has to be important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like when they blow up Hosnian Prime, well, then does Coruscant come back into the picture at all?
What is it?
Like,
What does the planet look like?
Yeah.
Who's there? Who lives there? Someone has to
Exactly.
live there.
Yep, never spoken about again.
Mm.
Also, we don't know what sort of planet Hosnian Prime is.
No.
We don't know if
No.
it's the same monopolis.
Ecumenopolis.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I said.
Monopoly.
Same as Coruscant, or if it's just a normal planet.
Or if it's just, it has some cities on it, sort of like Alderaan, where there's
Yeah.
nature and also cities, you
yeah,
know?
Yeah.
no clue. So yeah, tale as old as time with this show. Once again, the sequels did nothing to tell us.
Yes,
Um,
it was a
what went down?
lot of wasted potential. They didn't even touch on this kind of topic, or this aspect of world building.
And also, like, what sort of context we do get for the era between 6 and 7 in the prequels in the sequels rather, is all stuff that kind of happened around like 5 years before Episode 7.
Yes.
You know, like stuff
so
with,
they had a series of books, the Road to Force Awakens.
Yeah,
I
pretty
think
much.
was the series of books.
yeah, and
I
we-
read one of them.
Yeah, and there's some stuff like in there, like, you know, like we know the bloodlines kind of in that period. There's some stuff about like Rey and her early life, stuff about like
There was the book
Ben.
Aftermath, which is very popular,
Oh yeah, there's
and
the
that was like a collection of stories.
yeah, the Aftermath trilogy was
Mm.
between was like, you know, in the time immediately after / 1 year after the
Gotcha.
Battle of Endor, which
Yeah.
led up to the Battle of Jakku. We can get into all that later. But yeah, once again, like all the stuff that we're told about in the sequels only happened maybe 5 years before. You know, the Jedi Temple burning and Luke going into hiding, Ben
Yeah.
turning to the dark side. Recent history. very recent history.
Yeah.
But there was still 25 years before that.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened?
So we know the Galactic Concordance happened after the Battle of Jakku, which is like a year after the
Yeah.
Battle of Endor.
Yes.
Crazy to me.
Yeah. Should we just get into all like that sort of expanded media stuff?
Yeah, let's talk about expanded media. Let's talk about what the canon is at the start of the Force Awakens movie.
Yeah.
So the Galactic Concordance happens at the Battle of Jakku, which is 1 year after the Battle of Endor, which we, I think, all don't like because it
I
doesn't feel...
Hate Jakku as like,
So
the
Jakku,
concept.
the concept of Jakku, it's a core world that's like a desert planet.
The planet's fine.
I think it's just as silly because
Yeah.
they wrote it in for Force Awakens. It didn't exist before
Yeah.
that.
No.
So to have it be a core world, because
yeah.
yeah,
I'm trying
Yeah.
to remember on the galactic map where but
it's
it's
right in the
closer.
middle.
Is
It's
it
right
right
next to
yeah.
Coruscant.
Okay.
Yeah. And when they start Force
That's-
Awakens, it feels like it's on the outer rim, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
in the core
Yeah.
world. It's like a hop, skip, and a jump away from Coruscant. I
Okay.
shit
Okay,
you not.
I did not even know that.
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
Okay, that's even crazier to me because my big problem is like, why the hell did they have their final battle on Jakku and not Coruscant? And what? Okay, it makes no sense to
It's
me.
very strange. I think
Yeah.
the idea was for it to be a scrap planet close
Yeah.
enough to Coruscant that it's like, oh, we're gonna have our final stand here,
Yeah.
right next to the core worlds, and then all those ships
Okay.
crash on Jakku, creating this scrap planet so that you can have Rey
Yeah.
live there at the start of Force Awakens.
Makes no strategic sense.
It's like, yeah, putting the cart before the horse,
Yeah.
kind of
Okay,
thing.
let's step out of our fortress and go fight on this little desert.
Very, very strange
Yeah.
decision. If you think about it for like
Mm.
longer than 10 seconds, it's
Yeah.
a bit weird.
Mm.
And it's one of those like, oh, it's extra canon, it doesn't really matter. But
No.
I think there's a lot
Yeah.
of space to explore something more interesting than that.
Yeah, so
Melo,
like
what do
some
you
of the books, some of the stuff like Star Wars Battlefront 2 story mode gives
We get
us
a little bit of Luke.
little bit more,
Yeah.
a little bit more elaboration around what happened. But we know that the final stand of the Empire was above Jakku.
Yeah.
They were trying to hide something as a part of like Palpatine's grand plan after the Empire fell, in which he had his Sentinels, he had his sort of scorched earth policy. It's
And Operation Cinder.
Operation Cinder. I was going to
Yeah.
say, so part of Operation Cinder was there was something on Jakku. It was some sort of like Imperial information station thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
They were-
like fucking Scarif.
yeah, more,
like a
more
tower.
secrets they were trying to hide.
gotcha.
That I'm
Secrets
sure,
only the Sith knew.
yeah, some shit that probably linked to Exegol. And the comics and
Yeah.
books are still catching up on all of that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. But yeah, we know that basically a year after that was the final stand and it happened, and that's why there's all that debris on Jakku. But yes, Mas Amedda, our
Signs the Galactic Concordance.
with
and-
Mon Mothma,
With Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
And then he gets arrested and goes to prison.
No,
What happens to him in canon?
So I believe from my extensive research, what happens with Mas Amedda is he is put as a part of like a transitionary group of Coruscant's government
Okay.
to transition them into like just a new Republic world.
Got it.
But then nothing happens to him after that. He just kind of goes into obscurity. which
Yeah, it
is
just kind of like fades
what?
into obscurity.
Yeah, like
Interesting.
it's ridiculous.
And then we get the whole centrist versus populist debate, which leads all the way up to The Force Awakens, which is a lot of planets want to break off and become individually governed, like self-governed, and many of them want to stay centrist, want to stay a part of the New Republic. Leia is on the side of the centrists, and who's on the side of
the populists.
the populist is
Ransom Custerfo.
Ransom Custerfo, who's a character in Bloodline, and Bloodline is the book we talk about the most on the show, I think. 'Cause
Yeah.
it has the most interesting things to say, I think.
The book
about
that
Leia.
was kind of like my initial jumping off point for where to start in a rewrite, and that I've like gradually gotten very distant from. Which
Yeah.
like now I'm happy. I'm much happier with where we're at now because it's like I needed somewhere to start there,
Absolutely.
and the more we've
The more we
developed
dive
ideas-
into it, the further away we get from some of those ideas.
yeah, and the less political our like in terms of like how much time we're spending on direct politics.
Yeah.
Our film gets, which
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the debate that's happening leading up to Force Awakens. It's like some people want to leave and dissolve the New Republic, and other people want to keep it together. Leia wants to keep it together, and then she's kind of debating with Ransom Custerfo. And then there's an assassination attempt as the First Order is infiltrating the Senate and trying to destabilize it. Hello?
Oh, sorry. As a populist, Leia wants to keep the New Republic together, but not as a super government. That's the thing with the centrists want to keep it like
Yeah.
how it was in the old days, a super government. Whereas
Yeah, the
She
High
wants
Republic.
states' rights.
yeah, well, she wants
Yeah.
the freedom to govern individually, but still be
A part of
united.
unity, which is a good way to be. Ultimately, that's a good goal.
Yeah.
But yeah. So then that leads to her getting outed in the Senate as Darth Vader's daughter, and she gets kicked out, and then she leads the Resistance, which is a body of rebels basically directly fighting against the First Order. The First Order is a small group of Imperial loyalists at the start of Force Awakens.
Yeah, but they're not like they're not known as a big threat apparently. You
Yeah,
know,
they're not.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like the New Republic has their own navy. Leia's resistance is completely independent of that. They see her as kind of like a warmonger in a sense.
Yeah, like a warmonger, an extremist kind of thing.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, there's no real threat there. Like we know
you're
about the First
overreacting.
Order. Yeah, pretty much. And then of course they all get blown up.
Yes, so we get to Force Awakens. The First Order uses Starkiller Base to destroy the Hosnian system, assumedly taking out the New Republic naval fleet as well.
Yeah, you see a few ships in that in the 15 seconds we get, if that. You see a few ships above the planet, and one must assume for a minute that was it, the whole fleet.
That has to be it.
Yeah,
because we never see that fleet later on.
Yeah.
And then that basically takes the New Republic and all of that civilization out of the picture, leaving only the Resistance to fight the First Order.
And then what we hear from in terms of like then the rest of the systems throughout the whole trilogy who were part of the New Republic is, oh yeah, no one's coming to help. Oh, we're afraid. In opening crawls, we get everyone's too afraid. The First Order are now the ultimate superpower. We're not going to come help, but not from anyone directly.
Yeah. We hear it through characters who have heard it from other characters.
Yes.
But I think a really interesting point here is between 7 and 8, there is no time. But in the opening crawl, they made the decision to write the First Order is now the governing power in the galaxy.
Yeah,
or something to that effect.
supreme.
So
they reign
crazy.
supreme.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
And the choice to have 7 and 8 take immediately after each other.
Yeah.
Was, I think, one of the biggest mistakes they made. You know, because of the shenanigans, it kind of had to be that way. But at the same time, don't do that.
So unless we actually got like some other New Republic planet that we saw in 7 to then at the start of 8 show a Star Destroyer come in to be like, yeah, there's an occupying force. We have to see something to understand this situation. But no, you just fucking tell us it in a line.
Yeah,
because we've got story to tell.
It really makes no sense given the fact that Episode 7 ends with them absolutely obliterating the First Order.
Yeah, they destroy Starkiller Base. How powerful can they be now?
That was their one thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyways.
And then we find out we have a supremacy. We have a 70-kilometer wide Star Destroyer that builds other Star Destroyers.
Yeah, so that's obviously incredibly dumb. And we're going to stop there, I think. I think it's very clear. Like, we've painted the picture of if, like,
angry.
It sort of made sense because the book writers are a bit smarter than the film writers, and then it gets to the films and it falls to pieces. So that's the actual canon, and that's our problems with it.
Yep.
Let's dive into what we want to change, starting right at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Right. Okay.
First things first, Mello.
So, how big was the Imperial force at Endor in the grand scheme
Massive.
of the Empire?
It's everything.
It was big, but it wasn't.
I don't think it was
It wasn't everything.
Okay, where do you guys think the rest of it was? Because I thought the idea was that the Emperor threw everything
I've scrubbed back through that. They did have a massive occupation, but it wasn't all of it. They didn't specifically say anything around that line. And it being all.
Then we can safely say like 80%. Something like that.
What I'm willing to agree with is that it's maybe I wouldn't even say 80.
Where would you be putting it?
Like 20, but I'd go more like the leadership is there.
Yes.
And all of their like attack forces. They have to leave governing and like officer forces around at all the other planets to keep everything going.
Like like they only had like Vader's Super Star Destroyer there.
Okay.
I would argue that there would definitely still be some other Super Star Destroyers. And then like there were that's the thing about then just the regular Star Destroyers. There were tens of thousands of regular Star Destroyers because there's tens of thousands of planets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But leadership was there. Imperial leadership was there. There would still be, other high-ranking generals and stuff. But I like the idea that battle, it flips the switch.
Yeah.
It turns the tide, and it's like, right, they actually don't have their big, powerful force. They don't have their Death Star. They don't have their leaders. They don't have Vader and the Emperor and some Moffs and shit.
Yeah, the really important generals and their Moffs and stuff.
Yeah. So what we then have is just a leaderless empire. Now, that's enough, I think. That's enough of a jumping off point to be like, right, now we finish the rest of the toppling.
Absolutely.
And now we've said to the galaxy, they're not indestructible, and there's no head at the top of the Hydra, and you can kill the Hydra and you can chop off the head.
Yeah, I think after that battle, like anyone who was holding out from the rebellion is like, well, if we keep holding out, they're going to fight us. So we've got to join them. And then the rebellion gets huge while the Empire is in disarray. And that changes the tide entirely, I think.
Also in canon, at that sort of immediately after the Battle of Endor, the rebellion is no longer the rebellion. They start then going by the New Republic.
Yeah.
Because they are the rebellion to the...
That's actually something I want to talk about.
Yeah, the Alliance to restore the Grand Republic, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yep. They then just flip it and they're just like, yeah, fuck it. We're the New Republic now.
So, just quickly before we dive in any further, our goal for this is to make this some kind of TV show, anthology series similar to the Clone Wars. And when I say make it, I don't mean actually make it. We're not going to actually write this. This is something that will just exist for us as context to help us write the actual sequel trilogy. Any writing we do that like we want to show off, maybe in the future, we will throw on the Patreon or we'll throw up online somewhere. Yeah. But basically, our goal for this is just to have it be context, and we love talking about it because it's really fun.
Yeah.
But we don't actually want to like dive into it too much, I guess.
No, and like I'd see us writing this up into like a master doc where it's like,
Yeah, some kind of big document,
We'll
yeah.
need this to help
Yeah,
inform our stuff. We need to look at what happened then. Oh, that's right. You know, because here's our new canon. Here's
Yeah.
our new set of rules. Could be something that we release to the audience.
Very similar to the Clone Wars TV show,
Yeah.
where it's like it's supplementary. It helps bridge the gap, but it isn't necessarily essential.
It's definitely not essential.
I think given, you know, like, because you guys are still doing not a 30-year jump, right? You guys are doing slightly
It's
less.
more or less 20.
20-ish
Yeah.
right now.
I think like a big problem with time jumps a lot of the times, and this is clear in Game of Thrones, the novels. When you do a time jump and you don't know what the fuck happened between it,
Yeah.
then you end up with so many problems. That's why I always believe that you need to like flesh that stuff out so that you know,
yeah.
because everything in storytelling is cause and effect. And what are the consequences? What are the thematic and storytelling through lines
absolutely.
through that period?
Yep.
But yeah, so I just wanted to cover that first, and then to jump off what you were just talking about there. In terms of calling it the New Republic, I want that to be a story arc that
Yeah.
we dive into.
Yeah.
I want it to be
Yeah.
the Star Wars version of the Founding Fathers.
Yep.
And going through, it's like, hey, we've just overthrown the British.
Yeah.
Let's get a group of us together and decide what we're going to be called and what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And that, I think, should be an ongoing process.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a day one thing. I think coming to the idea of New Republic is like a part of that story you can dive into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's something that like they still have to get through this stuff to finalize, but it's definitely something that was a part of the plan.
Yeah.
Always. Like you look back to, Rogue One just before episode 4, of course, and when they're having that meeting, when they're like, oh, we're done, before they go to try and steal the plans, there's all those leaders there in that room arguing.
Exactly, yeah.
And they're all planetary leaders or senators. Like, that these are the sort of people that if the Empire toppled tomorrow,
They would take over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would be like, right, here's the new order. Here's how we're going to do things from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, that's something we just don't see in the original trilogy is we see the fighting, we see the heads of the armies and of the militaries. We don't see the political heads.
Yes.
Exactly.
But they're still
I
there.
think that's something Rogue One does very well, and it's why we like it so much.
Yeah.
Andor as well.
And Andor,
Andor really does. into it.
absolutely. But I think Andor does a better job of showing like here's the disparate ideas and ideologies
Yeah.
of the rebellion. In Rogue One, it's a bit more cohesive when you get to that point, and they've kind of come
because they
together a
are
bit more.
like a formal rebellion.
They're a
right?
formal
So-
rebellion. Now.
Yeah.
So the Alliance to restore the Republic.
Yep.
They succeed at the Battle of Endor. Their next goal is to topple Coruscant because that is like symbolic of we've fully won.
It's-
We fully conquered Coruscant, the core planet at the middle of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, once we do that, we take over and we're really back on top.
Well, do you think that's Coruscant is obviously it's like such an ultimate goal, but it's a very lofty goal. Do you think it's like something that they then have to build towards still?
I think they would still call themselves the rebellion
Yeah,
until they
yeah.
get
until
that.
they can do right. Yeah.
I think, it's like I don't think they would be recognized in the galaxy as the New Republic until they control the
until
capital.
some kind of symbolic
it's-
victory like that.
Yeah, it's like every campaign on Russia throughout history, right? They've always tried to go for Moscow because
It's
once they
the
control
Kremlin,
it,
it's
exactly.
Moscow.
Once they
Yeah.
control that, they
the
control.
people believe you.
So with
Yeah.
what we've got to be careful of when writing this is making sure that we don't write in a space winter.
Of course.
Space Winter.
Space winter would stop the
Now
rebellion.
that's
would,
some
it
Last
would.
Jedi
Yeah.
ass shit.
Yeah, Space Winter.
God, it got really cold in space, guys.
God,
What are we
yeah.
gonna do?
Jesus, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
They didn't send us with jumpers to
Oh.
in space jumpers.
It's
They've
so
got
sad.
Jumpers now.
sweaters.
It's so sad that my first thought was like that feels like Last Jedi, because
Yeah.
it's like it's
break science, break canon.
yeah, it's like the arcing laser bolts and then freezing in space and running out of fuel and shit. Oh, they're out of range. That feels like something
Oh
would
my
be in Last
God.
Jedi.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
No, sorry. My point being that it's like so where this this show I think would start then is immediately after Endor, but it's like yes, the next goal, even though there still needs to be some time between the next goal, is get to that stage
Yeah.
of toppling Coruscant.
Topple
But they-
Coruscant and then establish a new
Yeah,
government.
Yeah.
but that's going to take some time still.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, because I think like right after Endor, really the clear objective is let's topple the core of the Empire's governance, right?
Yeah.
Because there's still like yes, most of the leadership is dead. The Emperor is dead, but you still got characters like Masameda,
Yep.
lower tier generals who would then have to step up and assume command. I think the Republic would sort of have to just go on a crusade directly to the core worlds, probably freeing planets like Kashyyyk along the way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and slowly building up the momentum.
Specifically,
But
Han and Chewie doing that one.
Oh,
yeah.
We think it happens.
Oh,
in
dude.
canon.
It does.
I'm gonna get to that in a
Great
sec, but
story.
stuff like
Yeah,
that
it's,
is really
yeah.
awesome.
Okay. So I actually have like an immediate next step for the. For,
Okay,
for
what
the
do you
rebels.
think they do immediately after?
Corellia.
Oh, that's smart. I actually dig that a
Stop
lot.
the manufacturing.
So I think we're
Yeah.
settled onto something really cool here. So the idea of the core cast of characters and who they are.
Mm.
We have Han, Leia, Lando, and Luke. A really great core piece. And I think something really important I want to touch on is this is what people wanted to see
Yeah.
for the longest time.
Oh yeah.
What happens after Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
And what are the adventures that they go on as they build the New Republic?
Mm.
People want to see this story
Yeah.
so bad, and I want to write it and I want to give
Yeah.
it to people
Yeah.
in like a really fun way.
But you know what's the good thing about like Clone Wars is that, and what this show would then also need to do, you need to have some almost wholly original characters as well.
Okay,
yeah.
To cling to, because it's the idea of threat and stakes. You know, so we have specifically in Clone Wars Rex and Ahsoka.
yes, for
Because
sure.
they're not in the next movies. We don't know what might happen to them. They get a lot of screen time because there is always the danger that something could happen to them.
I
in
hadn't
this
actually
war.
thought about this. I
Mm.
really dig where you're going because
Yeah.
you get Ahsoka to have a foil for Anakin.
Yeah.
Because we want to see more Anakin.
Yeah.
So to foil him is great.
Yes.
And then you see Rex because he embodies the clone army
Yeah.
and their perspective and their like what they're going through
Yeah.
in their journey.
And so the same deal here. We would know that our core cast of characters are gonna be in the next film.
Yes.
Yep.
And they all live. That's so it's
and
fine.
they all live, but we need to have other characters
who we can
Of
kill.
course.
kind of driving things. But there's the potential threat.
Do you
of
have anything
they
in
could
mind?
kill- We're Gentiles.
Oh, you fuck.
Okay, so legitimately,
Oh my God.
he is so high up in the Navy. So if there's naval
Yeah.
stuff, we get to see Wedge as a real character.
I actually
Yeah.
fully fuck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's really funny.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like there is so much drama in the rebel leadership waiting to be explored.
Yeah.
And to like go back to that idea of like all these different, like basically a coalition of all these different factions. Think about it like this, right? The rebellion is made up of former separatists and people who fought on the side of the Republic.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's made up of the separatists who were right and who survived.
Yeah.
Who the Empire didn't immediately, who
Or-
Anakin didn't go for in that room
Yeah.
on Mustafar.
Or planets who were folded into the Empire,
Yeah.
but who hate them the whole time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hate the regime, and they're like, okay, well, we'll join the rebellion in secret.
yeah, like Chandrilla. Yeah.
Yes.
We get to see Chandrilla in this show.
That'd be
I
cool.
think.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Exactly.
They suck.
Yeah. Who? What, Space Japan?
Chandrillans, yeah.
Yeah.
After everything we've seen in Andor, they look like they suck.
Yeah. For this show, though, something I think would make clear that it wasn't clear in the original trilogy. Mon Mothma is the leader.
Yes.
Mon Mothma's
Yes.
in charge.
Yes.
And it'd be crazy because we'd finally actually see our original cast of heroes answering to her.
Yeah.
You
No, I
Yes.
actually dig that. Now it's like
100%.
hey, it's a formal thing now. You can't run around as much and be as crazy as you've been.
Yeah.
No, I dig that a lot. But so what I wanted to touch on there, talking about like our core cast of characters, this should be the story that people have always wanted to see from the core cast. Their adventures across the galaxy after the end of the war. We get episodes where it's all 4 of them or a fun combo of 2 or 3, but we can have individual episodes and through them explore different aspects of the galaxy, such as the founding of the New Republic through Leia, shenanigans with crime factions through Han or Lando, and Church of the Force and Jedi Order stuff with Luke.
Yeah.
So you can explore these different aspects through each of these characters. And then we also get these planet arcs where it's freeing Corellia or freeing Kashyyyk, and you do those through characters.
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
that'd be great.
Right.
Like every 4-episode arc is this week. We're gonna free this planet.
Yeah.
Like
It works
I-
perfectly
it does.
for TV storytelling.
I would actually like to argue for a different format.
Oh,
I
what's
think
your format
I
idea?
think it should be a continuous story.
Oh,
Like,
so
I don't
not
think
an
it sh- I don't think it
anthology.
should be an anthology.
Interesting.
Yeah,
a
because
real
I think
series, okay.
there are very clear arcs that build on one another, and I know Clone Wars does arcs,
Yeah.
but I think you have a continuous core cast all interacting with one another with a very clear goal in mind.
I actually think I kind of agree.
Okay, yeah, no,
Because
yeah.
we have these kind of checkpoints in the story that we
Yeah.
need to get to in terms of overthrowing Coruscant, and then Coruscant, I think we had the idea of it becoming like a nuclear wasteland, and
Yeah.
then we have to found Hosnian Prime, and
Yeah.
then we have to sort out the centrist versus populist debate.
Yeah.
And that has to be sorted out.
And on top of that, think about it like this, right? Each season, there are very clear, like, sort of mini eras, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the immediate post Endor, like
Yes.
capturing of Coruscant. That could be season 1.
Yep.
Season 2 could be the whole actual building the New Republic and the debate around the Constitution, Imperial remnants, maybe,
Mhm.
all sorts of things. And I think there is a very continuous story that snowballs on itself leading up into
Yep.
episode
Yep.
7.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then also this series needs to help us like go back in time and tell the real story of one of the big villains that we're setting up for our
I was
trilogy,
just about to go there.
Criminal Underworld.
I was wrong. I
Yeah.
thought you were going to say Thrawn.
Nah, man. I was not gonna touch that with a
No,
10-foot
so this
pole.
is the thing. I think Thrawn fits perfectly in the show.
in this.
I agree.
He does.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's where he is. That's where in Heir to the Empire he actually is.
Is
Yeah.
after
Immediate-
6
yeah.
before 7.
That's
exactly.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. In this one we can do Thrawn. Sure. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
no,
yeah.
I would love to do Thrawn in
Yeah.
a very different way.
The way I see Thrawn is once the New Republic is actually fully established, fully strengthened, Thrawn is the final, like, Hail Mary from the Empire
Yeah.
to actually test the New Republic as leadership, right?
Interesting.
So you're saying that? Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, so if we were to still include a signing of a galactic concordance,
Yeah.
Mass Amida does that. That's like, yeah, cool. So publicly the Empire's disbanded, but would it then be like Thrawn still wants to? People have seen that and be like, fuck that. We still want to hold together our empire.
Yeah, well, I guess because I like the idea that Thrawn has been, whether or not it's in the unknown regions or whatever, some other galaxy, I think he should come back. Obviously, the first issue once the New Republic is established is Imperial remnants, right?
Yep.
Because all around the Outer Rim, everywhere else where the Republic hasn't had a chance to actually get its foothold, you'll have all these separate groups of war bands, warlords trying to rise. Hence why we bring in sort of the Nuremberg trials that we've discussed before,
we
right?
get to see that in this show.
See,
Exactly.
That's really cool.
And I have a lot of ideas about that.
Just
but
quickly,
we're
for anyone who's
gonna
not
go-
familiar with the Nuremberg trials, that happened just after World War II with the Nazis, right?
Yes,
They
where-
put the Nazis on trial.
Yeah, Nazi officers were charged in a tribunal in front of, I don't think it was the United Nations, but it was
no,
an
it was
international coalition. And yeah, and
It
they
took
were,
years. It took a
Yeah.
very long time.
and it was televised as well, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow.
it took hunting a lot of people down, like a lot
Yes,
of bounty
it
hunters
was-
and stuff.
Before we go to bounty hunters,
Yeah.
continue with the Nuremberg
Yes.
thing.
So-
I just wanted to do context.
So obviously a big concern at first is this rising momentum of will the Empire consolidate again and come back? Now, I think that Mon Mothma, she has to, do a few shady things, negotiate some deals, but ultimately the New Republic stop that movement or that momentum. Now, go ahead a little bit further into the future, once the New Republic is actually formed, once they've finally cemented themselves as a true government. That's when Thrawn comes back from the unknown regions.
Yeah, right,
Interesting.
okay.
Yeah. And from there, he's able to consolidate all these little groups that they haven't been causing issues. So the Republic hasn't bothered to really send out too many resources to fully stop them, but they simmer down. So Thrawn comes back, unites them with a clear goal, clear ideology, and a clear disdain for everything the New Republic stands for. It's a philosophical battle about whether or not the Empire works better than the New Republic. And furthermore, we've seen the New Republic for a decent time now, so that, there are people wondering, is this the system that works? Should we go back? So Thrawn, through sheer power of will and personality, marches on Coruscant again, and it's basically this dark mirror of everything the rebels did. And through that, Thrawn serves as kind of I don't know if he's the final villain or the ultimate villain, but I think he's the perfect test for the New Republic once it's established, and the final Hail Mary of the Empire.
There you go. I really like that. I love the idea of the Shadow Collective or the Imperial Remnant really gathering around Thrawn. And without Thrawn, it all falls to pieces.
Exactly.
Because he's the only one smart enough and charismatic enough to really carry the vision
Yeah,
forward.
and he understands why the Empire worked for most people.
Or he believes that the Empire worked for most
Not that
people.
the Empire worked.
Yeah.
So,
You're chilling. You're chilling. But yeah, I really like that, and I really want to use Thrawn that way. Melo, you got anything?
Now, one thing I've got with that is that the idea that the Empire is defeated, essentially, completely dissipated, and then he comes back, because then it's potentially starting to tread on some of the ground of what we're doing in our trilogy.
It's true. The idea that if you leave fascism unchecked, it'll just keep coming back and over again like a weed.
I like the idea of him still being the big final villain, the one who's still able to unite things, but maybe potentially as just the villain that evades. The villain they can never get, the villain they can never capture, but they're still trying. I don't want them to be at this stage in the New Republic inactive. Because the one sort of through line that we've been working on in the sequels slipping through is Phasma.
Yeah.
But in terms of herself and her ideology and what forces she's able to put together and to build her First Order is completely unrelated and completely different. But that's that whole
Well, it needs to be for it to make it all the way through all of this unscathed.
Pretty much. So it's you keep working away at them, and I think maybe it could reach a point where the Empire acknowledges it's oh God, we're almost done. How are we going to do this? And they finally are able to unite under Thrawn.
I think getting away from specific timeline stuff is a good idea for this episode.
Yeah.
Just because there's a lot of different ways we could do it.
Yes.
It could be just one show about just Coruscant and everything revolves around that. So everything's happening continuously around it, similar to the Clone Wars. Or it could move in stages and phases where the story changes radically and the locations change radically over time as well. But I want to get away from that and talk about individual elements and stuff, if that's all good.
Yeah. I thought it would be interesting. This would be something we could explore in this idea of this show. Is that in certain cases of certain regions in the galaxy, the rebels would have to call on the help of crime lords, certain criminal empires in certain regions to be look, we need to partner up to take down the Empire. They hold you guys in check. We want them done. Let's temporary allies. then what would the rebels want to do after they, use
Once
them?
they've won, and all these crime factions are like, "Hey, favor time!
Yeah.
We're calling in our favors now."
Yeah. As if Mon Mothma would say, "Yeah, cool. I'll give you your favor."
What do they do, and how does that look? It's a really, honestly terrifying position to be in.
Yep.
I mean, like here's a pitch I had that I think builds on that as well, right?
Yeah.
I like my idea because I think Han Solo, right, in the context of Republic leadership, is a very interesting thing to think about. Because I don't think he would be a politician.
No.
I don't think he would like be in many of the big capacities. But I think he would be an amazing like director of intelligence. He's in charge of the spy network, right? He has his connections to the underworld.
Yep.
He's been in Republic military leadership. He understands these things. Now, I think when Thrawn comes in, right? I think one thing is now that Han Solo is in this position where he's in control of intelligence, Thrawn outsmarts him and starts to basically seed misinformation and lies through the spy network, driving Han Solo to be a lot more kind of paranoid about the Empire.
That's cool.
Now, because of that, Han Solo, and this probably will not fit with your idea, but it comes out of my idea of where it was coming from.
Yeah, go on.
So Han Solo starts to ally himself with the crime underworlds and starts funneling weaponry to them and works with them in order to stop any more future Imperial sympathizers or any like rebel movements, really.
Okay.
And eventually that comes out publicly and basically ousts him from government. But because of that, you've got this connection between the government and the crime world, I believe.
Okay, so I've got a very different image in my head. With Han, Leia, Lando, and Luke, in my mind, they're all heroes.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want them to be the most involved with politics or military decision making. I want them to just be like the people who are doing cool stuff while the military tells them to do it, or they do it with the military,
they are military people though.
I know,
Yeah.
but I just think it's not interesting as a story.
What,
You know what I mean?
them leading the
I
charge
think
on
what,
fights?
what we
or-
see in the original trilogy is they are affiliated with the military and they're working with the military and in the military, but they are doing so alone and with complete freedom,
I mean, that's
and
just, like,
autonomy
in some cases that we see them though.
in all
But
three
so-
movies.
Well, but like so.
Outside of like the attack on the Death Star at the end of Episode 4.
Yeah, but they were involved in that, and then in Hoth, their leadership of in the rebels in Hoth, and then it's like
And Endor as
obviously
well.
there's not much big like galactic stakes plot in Empire.
Yeah.
And it's just let's
It's a
escape
lot
Endor,
of interpersonal plot
and then
stuff.
we'll regroup, and then we get to focus on a story with them for a week when they're trying to regroup.
They're trying to
still.
get to the rendezvous after the Battle of Hoth.
Yeah, but once they get back, we know that they're like obviously they try to launch a plan to rescue Han, but they're still involved.
My
with
thing is, the
that
reason we
stuff.
don't see any of that is because Lucas is a smart man. He knows that's not as interesting as us just seeing them as a crew together.
Oh right,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that. I think though, where a lot of the drama really comes from after Episode 6 is the fact that you have like these sort of like this free band of people who really aren't like controlled by anything, and how do those free spirits who are very heroic, how do they try to maintain that in a system where they actually have to?
They have responsibility.
Yeah, they have a role now.
I think seeing that friction is
Yes.
more interesting to me, and them going like, I want to see Han Solo more like Maverick from Top Gun.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm a really good pilot. I'm gonna go and win this fight by myself.
Yeah.
You guys stay back and let me do it. And they're like, oh no, General Solo. That's not how this
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
And have that be the friction. That's what I'm more
Well,
interested in,
definitely
I
stuff
guess.
like that.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I see him being that sort of like
Maverick.
that sort of leader.
Yeah.
Against that. Yeah, it can always be. Yeah.
Yeah,
higher
yeah.
leadership. Where were we in terms of talking about
Criminals.
politics?
Well, we're talking
something
about the
had-
crime underworld. There was one thing when you were talking about the Nuremberg trials sort of thing, where we
Yes.
are putting these ex-Imperials on trial. A lot of them are going to run away because they don't want to
Yes.
be... Last time we talked about this, you said executed. I don't think we execute anyone. Just
imprison them?
quickly.
Yeah,
Just
that's probably a
imprison them,
good
yeah.
call. It's a good call.
Just because it's Star Wars.
That's
but
true.
a lot of people still don't want to be in prison, so they run away to the Outer Rim,
Yeah,
where
where
they're going to build an
momentum begins.
Imperial faction that sort of becomes a crime faction.
Yeah.
That's what I've got in my head
Yeah.
that I would want to see happen. And they're going to send bounty hunters after those guys. So the
Mm.
same people that they hired in Empire Strikes Back are now being
Ah.
hired to track down these Imperials. So we see Bosk, we see Boba Fett,
Yeah.
and they're being hired to take them down.
Yeah, that's
I don't want to
interesting.
see Boba Fett as like a crime lord, though. I want to see him as a bounty hunter.
No, I agree.
Well, we got to see if you're doing Boba Fett at all. You got to see Boba Fett
Come out of the Sarlacc pit.
resurrect.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
We also one thing we do actually have to see though. I think is like in terms of there's only so much stuff that Return of the Jedi leaves open, and it's what happens to Jabba's criminal empire.
Yeah.
Mm.
Who takes control
Yes.
of that? You know.
Yeah, so Jabba's criminal empire, I think what they actually touched on in Book of Boba Fett,
Yeah.
shit show, but the interesting thing was that it's the Hutt family, not just Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
His 2 cousins come in.
Yeah.
And there's more Hutts. There's a whole
Yeah.
planet
There's
of
a Hutt
Hutts.
clan,
Of,
we see it in Clone Wars,
Nal
yeah.
Hutta, I
Nal
think.
Hutta,
is
Yeah,
the
now
name of the
Hutta's
planet.
there.
So
Yeah.
it's just a planet of Hutts.
Yeah, but he's the big one.
So he's the top guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see a power vacuum fight of all the Hutts fighting over his top
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Or whatever Hutts are left, because I can't remember. Yeah, like in comics and stuff, we see these. Anytime any sort of crime lord makes a stir with the Empire, boom, done.
Ah, they
Yeah.
just wipe
Yeah.
out the.
Yeah. This is
The
something I've said
whole
before.
family.
Yeah, the Empire allows the crime lords and the spice trade and all this stuff to stay in its own little world.
As
so
long as they don't make a mess.
Yeah, if they don't fuck with the Empire, then they're allowed to do
Oh.
whatever they do. And if the Empire needs them, they'll also comply.
Yeah. So the ones I've written down, just because they're the biggest names I can find, is the Nikto.
Yep.
There's the Pike Syndicate, and they
Yep.
run spice.
Yep.
And then there's the Hutts, and they do all sorts of illegal shit.
Mm.
And then there's
Can't
the
think of-
Black Sun.
Yeah.
And
Also
also Black
during
Sun's
Clone
still a
Wars.
thing.
Yeah.
In the video games as well, in Empire at War, there's also the Zan Consortium, which is really cool. No, they are. They are.
They're
really
actually cool. Okay, that's
Yeah,
just a nerdy
they-
name.
Yeah, they are pretty, but like they're not pretty. They're pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean like the dude Tyber Zan who runs it. He's very like cold and calculating, and he's
Cool.
the character you play. It's really
There
cool.
was one addition I wanted to make to this crime world as well. So
Yeah.
we've talked about this a little bit. I don't know if I've mentioned it actually, but in Jedi Survivor there is an alien race that's introduced.
That's right.
Oh, it's from like extended lore, but they brought it into the game, and he is a Gendai.
Yep.
And he is this almost immortal tentacle monster, and he's awesome.
Yes.
He's so cool.
In the original
Oh my
Star
God,
Wars
yeah.
Clone
Yeah,
Wars
dude.
animated series between episodes, so it came out between the release of episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So back in like 2003,
Tartakovsky's.
there was a
Way
character
before
called
the 3D animated one. There's a
Yeah.
2D animated
Yes.
Clone
Yeah,
Wars.
there was a character called Dirge.
yes.
He was a bounty hunter
So cool.
that Obi-Wan fought, and he was indestructible.
Very cool. Did they kill
Yeah.
him?
Nope. No,
No,
sorry.
he-
They explode him, and then it's kind of like this
Like Wolverine?
or it's like symbiote suit. You see
Yeah.
like a
Yeah,
bit of
like,
flesh
comes
crawl.
back
Yeah.
together.
So
Yes.
there's these tentacle creatures that are nearly impossible to kill, and they're almost extinct, so they're very rare.
Yeah.
I want one of those to be like this 1,000-year-old crime lord.
Right.
Like the evil version of Yoda.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's been power brokering for hundreds of years, maybe 1,000 years on the Outer Rim, and he's been running a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. And I
Right.
want him to be involved in this story, and then definitely in the sequels as well. I really love the idea of the Gendai. I think they're awesome.
They are.
And
so
they're like
cool.
they much like Yoda being 1,000 years. It just pushes the boundary of how much fantasy can you do before it becomes unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I think the Gendai are right on the edge
Yeah.
in the place where I like to be.
Depending
Yeah.
on how it's portrayed. And
For
how
sure.
it's
I
agree,
want him
yeah.
to be in a suit. I want him to be grounded. I don't want him to be this giant tentacle monster kind
Yeah,
of thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
Not so
yeah.
extreme.
I want him to be like evil Star Wars Jeff Bezos kind of thing. You know?
One thing
It's
worth
like the
noting.
richest man in the world
Yeah,
kind of thing.
one thing worth noting for the audience. At some point, we will do sort of like a go through a sort of existing canon and what we're keeping in our canon.
That
sort
is
of
an
thing.
episode we have on the dock as
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
I mean, just for the moments and the purpose of this episode, it's quite obvious that we're
we got to
kind of
scrap
erasing
Rebels, the show,
Yeah,
and all of Boba Fett, Mando, all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
We're
Yeah.
keeping most of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
There is actually certain episodes I think in Clone Wars that we need to erase.
Or just ignore, maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
like certain things like
The Mortis arc.
so anything that, but maybe kind of
Potentially, yeah.
anything that is like it explores the mystical elements of the Force too much. Yoda going out to talk to the Wills.
Yeah, I don't
in
like that.
in the planet that's the source of life in the universe. Like
Yeah.
that's
I'm not
too
the biggest
much.
fan of that stuff.
That's way too much.
It's better to leave it ambiguous in my mind, but not to say that we don't like all of this stuff. We're really enjoying the Ahsoka show. We love a lot of Mando, but it's just some of the point of those shows is making the sequels is bridging the gap and making it more
Yeah.
believable, and we don't want to do that at all because we think the sequels
fundamentally
are broken. You know, at the core.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean they're like the worst movies ever made, but I just think
I've
there's
mellowed out.
potential to do it better. But anyways,
and it's all this retroactive storytelling. And
Yeah.
at some point, even
exactly.
that becomes too much. Like Mando season 3 has a lot of ties to the First Order stuff. Spoilers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we need
Yeah.
to see this?
But yeah, let's get back on topic.
Yeah. Okay. Where are we at? Crime Lords, Crime Underworld. That's
Yeah,
what's-
so I just listing through some of the crime factions and what we think, and the idea of some of these Imperials running out to the crime factions, running out to the Outer Rim,
Yep.
and looking for safety and looking to pull their power together. And some of these bounty hunters coming out, and we see some of those episodes. Potentially, we see a bounty hunter main character through which we can view that lens.
There are plenty of
because now they're
really-
on the good side.
Yeah, there's plenty of cool bounty hunters from that were erased
Yeah,
in canon from old comics
Yeah.
and
like
books and stuff.
Dengar.
Yeah, Dengar's still in it,
is
but like
canon.
He's so cool.
There's this-
I'm joking. Dengar sucks.
there's this
Dengar
other
Roth.
guy. It's this other guy who is basically like he kind of looks like Cable from Deadpool.
Mm.
Oh shit, that's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, can't remember who he is.
Cool.
But anyway, yeah.
And then we get to see like bounty hunter droids like
Yeah.
IG-11.
Yeah, you also, you know who, does exist. I think George Lucas's like #1 hated character from the extended lore.
Who's that?
Jackson.
Jackson the Rabbit?
Jackson the Green Space Rabbit.
What?
Can we please do Jackson the
We
Green
could do
Space
Jackson
Rabbit?
Green Space Rabbit, yeah.
He's so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get to introduce some of those characters as well and dive into that part of the
Yeah.
world.
Sith Jar Jar.
Sith Jar Jar. Shut your mouth.
A Gungan bounty hunter. We see this really dark and gritty Gungan.
And another part of the thing we want to dive into is this kind of Cold War. So you brought up earlier that maybe the rebels used some favors or asked for some help from the really powerful crime factions like the Hutts
in certain
or like
regions,
the Pikes.
in certain cases.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now they're calling in those favors again. And what we want to what this feels familiar to us is the Cold War between the Russians and the Americans after World War II.
Yeah.
Because they were working together, they were allies. Then as soon as World War II ends, tension brews instantly. And then you've got the nuclear stuff coming into that as well. So I think that can be a part of it. It's really interesting.
We don't really have a nuclear threat. Death Star tech
We want,
has to be outlawed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the interesting thing about the crime factions, though, because they do actually control regions. Like, it's not like just syndicates, they're actually kind of governing bodies.
They are kind of governing bodies.
Yeah, with their
exactly.
own sort of, hierarchical power and slavery and all these,
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to dive into that and have it be like that's some of the friction in the story is the crime factions butting up against the New Republic and what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And then you have Thrawn as well. And then within the New Republic, once that's established, you have centrist versus populist debate coming up in the Senate.
Yeah, that would be once the Senate's established.
Yes.
Do you think
I'm not
that
saying
that's
this.
something
I don't want
actually-
this to be all at the same time.
I was gonna say-
I think that debate. Sorry, were you about to say
I
something?
was going to say, like, the whole centrist populist thing, like, that seems like in terms of a timeline thing, in the future.
Later on, yeah.
That would come about.
I actually think that's a debate that should only happen at the start. Because
Interesting.
Because when the New Republic have to form government, the first thing they have to do, and I think they need to do this fast, it's write a constitution.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the big conflict ideologically within the Rebel Alliance begins. It's this idea of, do we go for a big federal government
Like the High Republic.
or do we go for this like very decentralized government?
Yeah.
And I think that debate at first, that's the one that really not radicalizes, but it splits people apart.
Mhm.
And I think because is it Bloodlines where they have the centrist populace?
Yeah.
Because they introduced a new character as the front for the opposing side, right?
Yes.
I think it should actually be familiar characters split aside, kind of like not like Marvel Civil War, but that same sort of vibe where you're like, oh, who do I believe here? Because they should both be treated
you want to
well.
split like some of our core cast, like
Yes,
Luke
yes.
and Leia and
Yeah,
stuff.
because
Well, I mean, at
Interesting.
least some of the
I
new
think-
characters we
yeah,
and then
because
some of
I-
the new characters as well.
Because what I think is it should be Leia is a federalist. She believes that it should all come together. And Lando should be an anti-federalist.
Interesting.
Right.
And because of that, you get these two, like Leia is this hard fighter for what she believes in. And Lando, on the other hand, he is this independent, charismatic, suave figure. And the way I sort of see it is like, have you guys seen Hamilton? I know.
Yeah.
Cough, scoff.
I actually have not seen Hamilton, but I know a lot of the memes.
Yes. Well, one of the great things about Act 2 in Hamilton is it's basically just all about how they formed government and built the Constitution. But it's so thrilling and entertaining because it's not about just the Constitution. It's about all the character drama surrounding it. The fact that, Thomas Jefferson came back, all of a sudden he's like, oh, no, we need to be very, like, independent, decentralized. And as a result, he would, like, really attack Hamilton personally. He would expose all this drama. And you would get all these alliances between these strange figures you would never think would, like, ally with one another.
Right.
So my proposal for Leia in this context, and this is pulling very much from Hamilton, I think that she should be sort of the main spokesperson for defending this Federalist Constitution.
Right.
And she needs to write like a bit, or she needs to convince the public. So enlisting the help of Massa Maida, in secret, he's not coming forward. She and him pen together basically a defense of the Constitution. It sounds crazy, but basically because of Massa Maida's collaboration with Mon Mothma and all these people, he's then sort of given not leverage, but a reward of staying in government as a useful figure. So onwards from that.
Yeah. Yeah, go onwards.
Continue
from that.
on
Go
if
on
you've
got
from
more.
that. Yeah.
I've got how we got to this point, but
Okay.
it was going to come to this because I wanted to mention it. I think Brendel Hux
Mm.
is one of the most interesting figures from the backstory of the sequel trilogy,
Okay.
who I don't think has been explored in the right way. My proposal for Brendel Hux is he was a lawyer during the reign of the Empire.
Just to stop you quickly,
Yeah.
Brendel Hux is Hux's dad. Hux,
Yeah.
who we see in the sequels, in case you didn't know that. Yep.
Mm.
He was a lawyer.
Yes, I think he was a lawyer, right?
Yep.
And
space lawyer. We haven't
Space
seen
lawyer.
scummy space lawyer before.
True,
actually.
right? Yeah. Well, it's not something you would kind of want from Star Wars, but I think that's
Star Goodman. Sorry.
yeah, no, but I think he's actually a super respectable figure because during the reign of the Empire, he worked within the system and he just believed in rule of law, right? Order. He didn't really care about the whole debate about the Empire or not.
He's
but
like, I
he
don't care
would-
about politics. I just want to do my
just
job
going
and get
to
paid.
stick it to the crime factions, right?
Okay.
So during the reign of the Empire, he was renowned and beloved by all because he was a person who just respected the idea of law, rule of law, and he basically fought the crime factions through the legal system. Sort of like, and as much as I hate this person, sort of like Rudy Giuliani, before he became mayor of New York, because what he
Okay.
did is he prosecuted the mafia.
Yeah,
and
he took down
basically-
the mafia.
Yeah,
Interesting.
And after that, there was very little crime in New York.
Oh, it's a
like,
shame he
no,
sucks now.
It
But anyway,
does suck.
continue on.
Yeah. So I think that Brendel Hux comes into the picture because during the Nuremberg trials,
Mhm.
initially when they're writing the Constitution and all that, Mon Mothma's like, all right, who's this figure who is respected by people who are loyalists to the Empire, but also respected by the Rebel Alliance?
Mhm.
Oh, it's this neutral figure who just believes in order, rule of law, all that. Wonderful. So he comes in and he's involved in like drafting the Constitution. Now, when the Nuremberg trials begin, they're like, all right, you're the best lawyer ever. We want you to come in. And he's like, no, I'm not going to prosecute. This is a kangaroo court.
Right.
So he defends the imperial officers, right? And
Right.
and
Dude, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, right?
Continue.
yeah. So he defends the imperial officers, which immediately Leia and Mon Mothma are like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
Because they've respected him so much, but now he's actually just principled. And at first, everyone is like, "This guy's an idiot. What's he doing? He's defending these monsters." But then when the imperial remnants come up, he's suddenly vindicated because he warned, "Hey, if you don't
If you
do
kangaroo caught this,
if you don't
people
do
are
this
going to
the
run
right
away.
way,
Yeah.
it's going to go like that, right?"
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah. So as you move along, he starts to become this respected figure because of his work in the early days of the New Republic. And once things start to become an issue again, he suddenly starts his centrist party, where he runs for office to
Mm.
basically increase the extent of the law and its influence in a way that's kind of authoritarian, but he posits it as this is neutrality. And I think that plays very well as a foil to the crime factions.
And I love it because he's still a villain, because being
Yes.
a centrist is being bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry.
well, I think the thing is, like, he's a person who believes in order and his intentions are pure, but the
Yeah.
party he starts and the policies he pushes for are what will eventually lead to the return of fascism.
Yeah,
through
no,
his son.
exactly. No, I really,
Yeah.
really like that. That's a
Yeah.
really interesting character.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I need to talk about Mas Amedda.
Just quickly,
Yes.
I just
Oh.
wanted to say that this is why we did this episode, because Cole loves this shit and he's written so
Yeah.
much of this.
Here's the thing,
That's
right?
just a taste.
Yeah. So in that, like, after Endor document, I know it all seems like random gibberish, but it's so hard to explain because I shit you not, literally every single bit is connected, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain just Mas Amedda's involvement or Brendel Hux's involvement or even like
because
the
it's
weird
this big web.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
even the weird shit like Han Solo ousted from government, it is all connected and it's
Yeah.
all building on one another. I'm not crazy.
Release the cold cut.
No,
I'm not
Cole, you're
crazy.
crazy, but it's like
Not
it's like a good way, you know.
Yeah. I may have gone too far in a few places.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Mas Amedda, Cole.
Yes.
Are you familiar with what's his face Goebbels?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've drawn the connection
Ooh.
within the Star Wars universe that he is more like Goebbels.
Which is
like
the
the
right
architect.
hand man of Hitler,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Architect of the Reich, was he?
Yeah, he was the architect of the Holocaust, I believe.
So Mas Amedda had a similar kind of role where he was brought on around Phantom Menace
Mm.
time, and he knew that
Yeah.
what Emperor Palpatine was planning
Yeah.
Yep.
from the start.
Yep.
Yeah.
The entire time.
He
Yeah.
was actually like the right hand man to Chancellor Valorum.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Helped-
you're right.
helped Betray him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
helped. Oh, he helped betray Valorum.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, that's cool.
Yeah.
I
Undermine
did
him.
not know that.
Yeah. I mean, like, all we know about the guy from the films is
Order.
the
Order.
Yeah, the,
Yeah.
the
Sorry, we've
one
said
motive.
that so many times
The
on
one,
the show.
yeah, that's his one motivation above all else.
Yeah.
Order, we shall have order.
That's
He's
so
got that
good.
tattooed on his
Yeah.
back. Mas Amedda. I'm not sure about the idea of having him actually involved.
Mello brought up a good point the other day that it having basically the equivalent of Goebbels
Mm.
after World War II from the Nazis serve in the United Nations would have been a really fucking
Yeah.
bad look.
Yeah.
Well,
And you basically, once you defeat the Empire, you force him to sign that sheet of paper and you lock him in maximum
Yeah.
security and never talk to
And
anyone.
what I really like is that not locking him up is the strat, and saying like, hey, we're not
Yeah.
going to lock you up, or we're not going to string you up and make an example of you,
Yeah.
because we don't want the Imperial remnant to run away.
Yeah. thematically, that's my point.
Yeah.
He is evil. He is the purest evil. And it is precisely because Mon Mothma decides to rehabilitate him because she is all about unity and rehabilitating, right? She believes that after the war, we need to unite and like just fix the wounds.
I still fully agree
And-
with you that he is like the symbol that
Yeah.
Mon Mothma points to say, you can be a part of society too, but just not
And
in politics. I don't think
yeah.
she'd let him be in politics.
Well, I think the thing is, he proves to be so useful that he's kept around as an asset. They think they control him, right? And he's almost like a necessary evil, and they rehabilitate his image. And I think as well, the reason I think Masameda should do well navigating is because his whole thing is that he is just the slimiest politician ever who has managed to go through not only Palpatine, but Valorum, the Empire, and he's also negotiated basically all these things surrounding the founding of the New Republic. I think he needs to be there because it says as a message, this is what happens when you are lenient towards fascism that you think benefits you.
Gotcha.
Well,
I see what you mean there.
I could go that way with something else that I pitched you, is that if we made him not this Goebbels character and said that once the Death Star is defeated, that he basically turns coat. He comes in with all these Imperial secrets, and because he sees the tide turning, and he is like, right, I'm going to hit rebels, Mon Mothma, I'm going to give you everything you want, but you give me, like, immunity.
Full immunity.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, like,
Similar lines.
Yeah, on
And
top... Oh, yeah,
I know
sorry.
you want to fight really hard for
No,
Masameda.
that's okay.
I want
I
to
just
move
wanna-
on, but I just wanted to bring up that debate because
Yeah, I
it's
just want to
like,
quickly explain my thoughts.
go for it.
So I think, like, I suppose, like, maybe in my mind, I don't see him exactly as a Goebbels figure because I don't think he was an architect of the Death Star and all these things. But I do think he was...
He was just following orders.
He was... Oh, my God. I think, he was Palpatine's tool for basically how to run government. Because this is the guy who's been around, I don't even know how long, but he's been before Palpatine. He's been there. He knows the system. He's the one who, when Palpatine says, hey, I want to do this, he makes it happen within government. He's the Empire on a organizational level.
Yeah.
Bureaucratic level.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's your final thought on Masameda. My thing that I kind of want to talk about as we get to the end of the episode today is coming back to Luke, Leia, Han and Lando, because
Let's do that.
those are the characters I'm the most interested in.
Yeah.
And it's like their story and exploring their adventures. I want to have a lot of adventure in the show and them going on like fun, really interesting adventures. The kind of stuff you can't show in a movie, the kind of stuff you can only show in a TV show.
Yeah.
That's what I'm more interested in.
Worth noting that, like, again, not that this fictional show that we're making matters.
Yeah, exactly,
But we wouldn't have all this politics in that.
Well, I think this is the place to do it.
Yeah. But just
not only
we're
politics.
just talking stuff within this time period. This politics has to happen.
Exactly.
Well, I think...
this is the place we want to do it more so than the sequel trilogy rewrite.
Yeah,
Personally,
absolutely.
I think, like, for me, I think the way I see it is, like, when you talk about, like, the outlining of politics, it's sort of you're creating the framework for which the character drama happens on, right?
Yes.
Because in the context of, like, the Federalist versus anti-Federalist debate, right? Sure, on a top-down level, it seems like, oh, this is going to be a boring show about, big government, small government. When in reality, that's, like, the backdrop upon which you have characters actually showcase what they believe, what they're fighting for.
It gives you something to ground what they're thinking about, what's the discussion,
and it tells you about them.
And that's the really interesting part is character stuff.
Yeah, and it's
we
like,
chuck this in a really good book.
Exactly.
But it's like, I think, honestly, I know this is going to cringe some people, but I do think Hamilton is the best example of how to do that.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I should watch it for the show now.
Definitely
Because,
give it a shot.
I've heard it's
Give it a
really good. I'm just
Give
not into
it
like
a
musicals. But
Yeah, give it a shot.
one note I had for the core cast, like the OG heroes from the original trilogy, I kind of was interested in this idea of them being exhausted once they get to the end of this. Like, they've now gone through the Civil War and then the post-war period and trying to form the New Republic. I want them to be tired and old by the time they get to that point. I want
old,
Leia...
like young but old.
Young but old,
By the time of the sequels?
By the time you get to the sequels,
Oh,
because
okay.
I want them to be
Yeah.
side characters in the sequels. I don't want them to be main characters, except for maybe Leia, because Leia I want to be like kind of fucked up.
Yeah, look, if there's someone who's definitely exhausted, I'd say that it is Leia, because we're still poising her as a politician, and she in the last 20 years between our 6 and our 7 has kept on fighting.
Yeah.
Han's been doing other things. Luke's been doing other things. Leia's still been fighting.
Yeah.
You know, she's
Fighting in a way that can be very destructive to the soul. Being a
politician,
the
yeah.
the political machine and the war machine are just like things that you can just get trapped in. And it's so exhausting. Whereas Luke has gone to become a wise Jedi.
Yeah.
That's soul enriching, man.
Oh yeah,
that keeps you thriving.
Yeah, he's gone full monk mode.
Exactly.
He's
Yeah.
happy. Yeah.
Which is like honestly a good way to be.
Yeah, and
that's
Han-
a part of the positive message.
Han's
of
doing
Jedi.
Han things. sure, Lando will have found a way to enjoy his life.
Oh, Lando's got no problems.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in showing like their adventures together and what they get up to and how what's more interesting to me is like, oh, we need one side quest done so that we can have the main battle happen over here. And they're like, cool, we're the best side quest characters because we only want to be the 4 of us. And they go on a Millennium Falcon and they go on a cool adventure and they do the thing, whatever that quest is. And that helps the main plot progression happen as well. And then we also see them, okay, another thing I was interested in talking about is format for the show. Even again, we're not making it, but in Mando season 1, this was really interesting. There was 2 episodes at the start and 3 episodes at the end, and that was one continuous story. In the middle of that was unrelated story.
Yeah.
I would love to see something like that for the show, where it's a combination sort of the Clone Wars anthology mixed with Rebels linear storytelling, where there is this overarching goal. There is this one big thing that's happening for this one season. But between that, there's a lot of side objectives that need to be completed and a lot of smaller stories that can be completed.
Sort of stuff
like Doctor Who,
Well, that's where you have your character growth.
Yes. You get character growth, you get those fun moments, you get the campfire storytelling.
You get
the
episodics.
really good kind of episodic stuff that you can only get from episodic storytelling.
Yeah.
That's where I want that to be.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And you
I
get
do
like
those.
scenes like with Han asking Luke of like, what are you now to me?
Yeah,
Like,
Jedi
are you a Jedi?
things,
Are you still like my friend, my brother? Like, what's our relationship now? And then Han and Lando just like hitting it off, becoming best of friends. And, like getting closer
like
together.
genuinely now, because it's like, because it's really funny in the context of the films, right? Because the last time Han sees Lando, he betrays him. When Han gets out of carbonite, Chewie really has to sit him down and explain to him, hey man, Lando's a good guy.
Yeah. And
Lando's
then
been helping us out.
Han and Chewie, like we said, freeing Kashyyyk, we get that whole adventure.
Yeah.
That would be a fantastic arc to explore.
Oh my god.
Getting Leia and Han getting engaged.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
seeing the proposal,
Yeah.
seeing the marriage would be
How do they
amazing.
How do they raise children?
And then Leia getting pregnant and her story of having Ben.
And Luke trying to find out the secrets of whatever is left over from Palpatine.
Yeah, and him hunting through that as well.
The Sith and the Jedi
And we
stuff,
could do Kef Bir and have him go to this cool ocean planet and explore the wreckage of the Death Star. Could be honestly really cool.
that-
a smaller wreckage.
A smaller
A
wreckage.
much smaller, like there's like, I'm talking like a room. There is one room left, you know?
Amid a
Small.
mile of shrapnel.
Yeah.
There's one room.
Very small.
Anyway.
See, I think that's like the exciting thing, right? Because I think this is where you get to see Luke in his prime. Because I do think by the time of the sequels, he should be more pacifist.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to see warrior Luke, like everyone kind of wanted to see,
Absolutely.
This is the
We
time.
want to see Neo in the Matrix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the end of episode,
Yeah.
at the end of the first
like
movie.
the end of
without the
Mando
90s
season 2.
effects and the color grade.
No, with both of those.
I
I,
don't
love
like.
those.
I don't
Highway five.
like it. I
But
don't
it's
want
like
it.
We want to see max level Luke.
yeah,
It's
like,
so cool.
It's like what you see at the end of Mando season 2, right?
Yeah.
That's the Luke you should see at this point. Because
Exactly.
this is when he gets to finally unleash all his power and eventually have to learn, like, oh, time to restrain, time to be at peace, time to teach.
And so time to teach. He doesn't start building his Jedi Academy until
No.
after the war is kind of a bit more settled.
Yeah.
If it's still tumultuous, it's not safe enough for him to
Yeah.
start. I think that's one of our sort of problems with Mando season 2, Boba Fett, whatever. When we see Luke's academy, he's already building it when the galaxy should be kind of struggling still a fair
Yeah.
bit. After this huge civil war, it's not the right time for that. He should be involved in the fighting.
Yeah.
I think is probably the place for him to be.
Yeah, like this, I feel like this will not work in the context of this show.
Okay.
But what I proposed in like my treatment was that Luke kind of immediately after they conquer Coruscant, and one scene I just, as a side tangent, I think the most exciting thing about the Siege of Coruscant is freeing the Jedi Temple and Luke being there.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
It's like a reverse Order 66.
Yeah, well,
He's going up the stairs.
Yeah, he goes up the stairs and like he liberates the temple.
That's
right?
actually
And
because
you play like Vader's like Anakin slash Vader's theme that he but
Major.
just backwards. Yeah.
I mean, that's a
Some
smart.
shit.
That's what they
Yeah.
do with composing all the time.
yeah.
That's actually
But
a really cool
think
moment
it's-
that I haven't thought
It's
of at
such a
all.
powerful image, and that's the
Absolutely.
thing. The Jedi Temple, after the events of Episode 3, became the Emperor's palace.
Yes, it
So
did.
it's like liberating that. I think is the biggest like symbol.
Symbolically,
of-
that's amazing.
Yeah.
We haven't even spoken about it, but like some form of Operation Cinder still happens. So yeah.
Yes, and
Yes.
we
Yeah.
definitely get to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and it's mostly about like the Emperor having a plan so that if he dies, his deeper Imperial Sith secrets get hidden, get buried.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's part
Yeah.
of why Operation Cinder was done.
Yeah,
to hide those Sith
and a
secrets.
safety measure as well for like high-ranking Imperials.
Yeah.
just trying to destroy information. In which
and all
again,
their war crimes.
yeah, and we could also then introduce, basically a character on the inside, similar to what happened in World War II, who kind of stops that destruction of information.
Yeah.
So.
That could be really cool.
Yeah.
There was,
I
you've told me
remember
this
what his
before.
name was. Yeah,
You've
that
forgotten
guy.
his name, but there was one guy who stopped a lot of documents from getting burned at the end of World War II.
Yes.
That allowed a lot of Nazis to be persecuted after that, which is awesome.
Yes, yeah, that was so good. in the context of Operation Cinder, also isn't Palpatine's motivation just the Empire dies with me?
Yes, but that
Yeah.
was because they were trapped by shit writing. With
Yes.
this,
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
we do
I
whatever the
agree.
fuck we want.
It's like that's one thing I did not like about Operation Cinder. Like I like the concept of destroying it all. I just cannot get behind that motivation.
of like trying to destroy the whole galaxy. It doesn't make any
'cause
sense.
I think it goes against Palpatine's whole like idea because I think he thinks legacy is immortality. And
Okay.
as much as he physically wants to be immortal, thematically the Empire is an extension of him and his idea for longevity.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I sort of agree. Yeah, I don't think he'd want to destroy the whole galaxy. I
Yeah.
think he'd want to try and continue the Empire.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Operation Cinder would be used
Yeah.
in like the
To
worst
cover
case
the-
scenario.
I think
If I die, cover everything up.
yeah, cover the tracks because
Cover the tracks.
he
Yeah.
probably envisions, like he's so tight with Thrawn. He's tight with Thrawn, man.
Yeah, he's tight.
And like he would want to cover the tracks so that the Empire could come back,
yeah, for sure.
Maybe they'll clone him. Ooh.
Yeah, so that was what I was interested in,
Yeah.
and them getting to the end. Oh, actually, we're talking about Coruscant in particular. So the reason I'm interested in framing the whole show around this
Yes.
is because on the bottom of Coruscant, in the core, is the crime
Crime
world.
worlds,
Yeah.
Like level 1313
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. Like the crime world, in a huge way, operates from the middle of Coruscant in,
Yep.
in the deep,
Yeah.
the deep sections. And the top level, that's where the Empire controls the surface. They
Yeah.
have the Emperor's throne room there and like his palace. And they have this huge stronghold of like military power there. So what happens when the Empire starts to become weak? The crime world begins to rise up from the inside.
Yeah.
And the rebels are attacking from the outside, from the
Yes.
surface of the
Yeah,
planet.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the Empire gets caught in the middle.
Yeah.
And that becomes maybe like the most interesting battlefront ever conceived
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
fiction.
like
Episode
Battle of Five
name:
Armies.
Rock in a Hard Place.
Yes.
I mean, that's one question I've always had, right? What was the crime underworld like at the Empire's reign on Coruscant?
It's a
Still
good
there.
question. It's
Yeah.
still there, yeah.
Still there.
Exactly.
According to legends, yeah.
Yeah.
But same deal. It's just like hey guys, you know how we've been living our life on Coruscant? Yeah, just quietly.
Yeah,
Just
just
a bit more-
don't make it a problem for
Don't-
us, and
don't
you guys
speak.
do whatever you want,
Yeah.
and you can
Yeah.
operate from
Seen
there
but not heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure. And
If you get stopped in the street, you know.
and there's some
yeah.
places the stormtroopers don't go because they know
Or-
they don't have any power there.
Or there's some
Yeah.
places the stormtroopers do go. You want to buy some death sticks? Fuck yeah, they do.
Exactly. So there's all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so when the tide starts to shift and the crime factions are like, we've got to make a move because this planet's not like where it is fun to be anymore.
Yeah.
And two, the Empire is weak. We can destroy them and take control of Coruscant maybe. And there's obviously a whole bunch of different perspectives there. But the important part is because of all this turmoil, we want to see Coruscant turned into a nuclear wasteland, basically, or turn into a wasteland planet.
Yep.
And have it be completely destroyed by the
Yeah.
end of the
I'll
world.
allow it.
This I feel like
And
this.
that's why we go to Hosnian Prime.
That's That's also in the context of that show. That's what I think has to be the climax, the end of it, the fun. Like, is
Yeah.
this destruction of Coruscant? It's the end of like the scorched earth policy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's the final battle. It's these two
Yeah, yeah.
sides rising up to meet each other.
Oh, so it's
I-
like a late game Operation Cinder where they're like, okay, well, this was the final button to push. We've already done most of Operation Cinder, but we were trying to hold on to Coruscant.
Yeah.
So
And-
let's hit the final button.
And it's taken the rebels to this point, and this is where Thrawn meets them in their final field of battle.
dude,
All of it.
Yeah.
that's pretty fucking
All of it.
awesome.
This is something I thought about at the start of the podcast that I was like, oh, I don't know how to bring this up. But when we were talking about Jakku being like this cindered place, I just thought to myself, if J.J. Abrams had guts, he would have had us arrive on a desert planet, see Rey, and then it's revealed Coruscant.
In the background, you see like the ruins of the temple or something.
It would be cool if it's like this ruin.
That would have been
Yeah.
very, very cool.
I know.
And you're like,
And I
like,
guess you
where did
think-
they import all that sand from? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's all the glass. You know how many
Yeah,
buildings there
yeah,
were in Coruscant?
Yeah. Do you know that when you destroy glass enough,
Turns
it goes
back into
to
sand.
Oh my god.
We do. Science go far here. But yeah.
Star Wars science.
Star Wars science go far.
Also, just quick thing. You know where you start this show? You start this show exactly where Aftermath actually starts, the book one of Aftermath. In the montage we see in Return of the Jedi of people being like rejoicing that the Empire has been destroyed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
remember, that still happens. We keep that. We
That's
explore
canon.
that.
Yeah.
We explore that.
Everyone knows that the Death Star's destroyed.
Yeah, and that's part of the uprising. That's part of Mao. Whatever Imperials now
Everyone's
left.
rejoicing, and then all the Imperials that are on that planet start shooting.
Well,
all
they're
these
threatened.
people.
Well, there's a bit when we go to Coruscant, people are cheering. They topple the Emperor's statue. There's this like 20-meter tall statue of the Emperor.
Oh wow!
And we pick in the book. That's the first chapter of that, and then people topple that chapter, that statue, and then the stormtroopers come in and start gunning people
Is
down.
that in that shot?
That's in.
Oh, it's in the Aftermath.
That's the gunning people down is in Aftermath.
but it's not in the movie. Okay,
But pulling
that's
down
fine.
the statue is in that shot.
Yes, so they
Yeah.
pull down the statue, and they definitely get shot afterwards.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm.
So cool. Okay,
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
that's a lot of things to think about.
Yeah.
Any final notes as we get to the very end of the show?
I guess this is a very short thought, but I don't think it should be Hosnian Prime. I think it should be Chandrilla. Like,
Okay,
one
that's
more
interesting.
time
That could be cool.
Yeah.
I like Hosnian Prime just because it's something new, and
Yeah,
a lot of what
that's
we want to
true.
talk about is like,
So-
oh,
Yeah.
we've
I mean, we've
destroyed
not-
the old stuff.
We've never
done
seen
something new.
Chandrilla.
True.
So we could make them one.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same, but
And this is, I feel like this is verging on fan service, but I do think one character that should come back is Commander X. I don't want to see Ahsoka back. I think Ahsoka should have died before the events of
Rebels?
episode 4.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
episode 4.
Yeah, because I think there should be no other Jedi besides
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, Luke, Yoda.
Gotcha.
But I think Rex is really interesting because he was built to defend the Republic, saw the Republic fall, and now he has a chance to defend it once more.
But he's a
nice.
clone. He's supposed to be dead.
Yeah, but
no, he wrote his inhibitor chip. He got rid of that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he get rid of. That's why
Yeah,
his quick aging stopped.
I
And
don't-
and
Oh, is
like,
that why it's
yeah,
quick
they I
aging?
mean they made it canon that Beard
Yeah.
Man in
Yeah.
on
Yeah, the Beard
Andor
Man on
in episode
Andor,
6
yeah.
is Rex.
oh, is it?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
We can have him die in
Yeah.
the show though. Wouldn't that
Yeah,
be a nice
I
little?
think-
I want new
Yeah, like
characters.
one-
not those
Yeah,
characters.
I want new characters as well. But I mean, like, one thing that kind of stood out to me when I was writing as well, when Thrawn comes back, I thought it could be really interesting if Rex comes into the picture because he's this old, almost about to die Clint Eastwood type, and he puts back on the armor to defend the Republic because he was born to defend the Republic.
Digs out his old clone armor and puts that on.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the last time people saw clone armor, they're like,
yeah, it's
Oh,
like,
that's a bad look, Uncle Rex.
exactly.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Continue.
Anyway, so I think what's really interesting is, if Rex lays down his life to defend the Republic. And on top of that, I think towards the end, right, he and Luke should have a mission together to stop Thrawn or save Mom Mothma or something like that. Some sort of mission together.
the other
Because-
Skywalker and
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
final, the final chapter of the book of the
Yeah.
clones and the Skywalkers.
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
symbolically, it's also saying goodbye to the prequels.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Quite nice. This is a random thing, but Inquisitors, right? I know this isn't the
yes.
episode in which we're erasing things. I fucking hate Inquisitors.
So you hate Inquisitors?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does
the
break
more
the rules
the more I
too.
think about it, the more I hate the Inquisitors.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. I think conceptually, Inquisitors just it's the whole. It does not play into the role too. I don't think Palpatine.
Also,
would
let's be
allow it.
real. The Inquisitors only exist because in Rebels, the two main characters are Jedi, and they need to have the Jedi fight someone
Yeah.
who is a big bad guy, and they're not strong enough to fight Vader
Yeah.
all the time. That's it.
I kind of agree with you.
You know.
I kind of agree. I would be interested to hear what
Yeah.
anyone else has to say on the topic
Yeah.
of Inquisitors.
That's
But who does Luke have to fight without? It's
Yeah.
just him with a lightsaber.
Yeah. But
That's not fun.
No, I know. But you and I we've had our thoughts in our conversations about Luke and does he kill anymore?
True.
After a certain
True. If he
point.
doesn't
will he
seem
kill
to.
again?
Will he kill again?
Yeah.
But yeah, if not Inquisitors, who do we have to throw Luke up
Yeah.
against in a cool lightsaber fight? Would be my only question.
Is this show a cool lightsaber fight show?
I want it to be.
Is
I always
think
want it
there
to
should
be.
a lightsaber.
I mean, he's the last. He is the. It's not the last
Well-
Jedi. He's the last lightsaber.
I mean,
At the
if-
end of episode 6.
okay, because I'll just share my thoughts about Inquisitors at first. I don't like the concept of Inquisitors, but I do think the Grand Inquisitor is a fantastic villain, and I do like his inclusion.
Underused and cool, but he was,
I
you know,
agree.
and his design was weird. But like,
Yeah, but
but he was cool.
yeah. a possibility I can see because I don't want the universe to be riddled with just Sith around, right?
Yeah.
It is possible that perhaps when Thrawn left, there are dark side users with him. I don't know.
Oh, he brings them back
Yeah.
from a distant
Yeah.
galaxy. That could be
Distant
Galaxy.
really
We're
interesting.
doing.
Maybe.
we-
Potentially.
Ahsoka
yeah,
now?
no
Okay,
regions, I
so we
know.
don't want to do the Yuzhang Vong. If you're not familiar, they're
I
a invading race of creatures from outside the galaxy. Basically, in Heir to the Empire, it's revealed that Emperor Palpatine was building a defense against the Yuzhang Vong because he knew they were going to invade, making the Empire the good guys.
Yeah,
which
I
is
don't like it.
fundamentally horrible storytelling. Argue with me about it. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
Let's
I
have
would love
a chat
to hear
about
a
that.
take in defense
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
because I can't
I-
even imagine.
See, that's the thing. You well know I use the Yuzhang Vong. I don't like the Yuzhang
I know
Vong.
you are
Yeah.
not keen on that part of the
Yeah.
story, but I know you want to use like the name of and the sort
Yeah,
of
well,
idea of an invading force of.
I am the idiot who thinks the name Yuzhang Vong is fucking cool.
That's weird,
Yeah,
dude.
I like it. It's cool. I mean, there are a few concepts in the Yuzhang Vong I think are cool. I don't think it was executed anywhere near even okay. But I like the idea of something living in opposition to the Force. So the Force isn't just like a left and a right. It's also like another axis.
Okay, interesting.
On top of that, I do like the idea of an extragalactic threat. I feel like that's something that needs to be carefully executed.
Yeah, I agree.
And the idea of like biomechanical tech is interesting. I don't know if it fits in Star Wars. I think it could be fascinating though. but I don't think it should be done in anywhere near the same way the Yuzhen Vong would.
What I would just pitch just quickly is that potentially Thrawn comes back with someone that's not the Yuzhen Vong, but a different race of creatures, and they have access to the dark side and lightsabers, and they use maybe orange or red lightsabers of some kind, and they have Sith-esque powers, similar to like Night Sisters or Inquisitors, but they're from a different galaxy, so they're not Sith.
Yeah.
That would be my small pitch without really thinking about it.
Hi, studio head here. Terrified of it all.
Of a distant galaxy.
Okay,
Well, that's how you get lightsabers. Is what I'm saying. I want lightsabers. There's my lightsaber
Fine,
fix.
we'll just reboot A New Hope.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, but can you get it done in 2 years? Because we just bought Lucasfilm for $4 billion, and I want to profit right now.
Yeah, so there's my like kind of last pitch. I don't know if you got anything, Melo.
Nah.
Alrighty,
I'm good.
finish it there. So that's a weird
Ahsoka
list
should
of
die.
ideas for what we would call the Fall of Coruscant or Final Days or something of that sort. And
Or
that's-
the rise of Wedge Antilles.
God damn it.
Yeah.
And that's the show.
And this is only part 1 of 7.
But this has been Fixing the Sequel Trilogy. Every week we're here talking about Star Wars. Every week we're here also talking about the Ahsoka TV series. There's 3 episodes left, and we're very excited for the finale. We are on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all the good places. Give us a like, a subscribe, 5 stars, etc., etc. And until next time, may the Force be with you.